Hi everybody and welcome to Dacob In Between, where we talk about the in between the thing. And the thing is fashion, right? And we get to read all your chats here. They stay forever. They impregnate this video with... We're going to talk about Kanye West. Ciao. We're going to talk about Yeezy. We're going to talk about Gap. The Gap. Yes, best believe Gap's Kanye West hoodies almost immediately sell out. Isn't that funny? So, I'm going to read to you a couple of tidbits, and I'm going to show you a couple of photos, or one photo, a couple of looks. However, you can get also the FOMO, the superdacob FOMO pop socket on Amazon now. We're going to scissor this iPad. So Gap's Kanye West collection, Yeezy collection of hoodies sells out immediately. And so for those of you who follow my channel, you probably have seen the other videos that I posted, but in case you don't know, I just finished recording another video that was all about the colonialism of marketing and occupying certain territories in terms of brand marketing, and how certain brands managed to conquer territories, economically speaking, by colonializing them through brand marketing. And in particular, when it comes to the Kanye West / Yeezy brand, very clever how they keep productions artificially very low of the products, and they deliver mass hysteria because everybody wants the pieces that are kept artificially limited. And this is a game that is constantly played by the brands that collaborate with Kanye West to obtain masses and masses of people desiring these objects, which are super basic and simple objects at the end of when it comes to clothing in particular. But it works. This mass hysteria always works when it comes to Yeezy, and Yeezy or Kanye really knows how to play that game masterfully, and has played that game. Because you could say, well, no, it's the brands that play the game. The brands also learn from each other, and it is not a coincidence that whichever brand Kanye collaborates with, all of these brands always limit the product extremely. They do that on purpose. A basic cotton hoodie doesn't need to be a limited edition. It's a limited edition if the brand, together with Kanye, decides that it's going to be a limited edition. And they decide for it to be a limited edition because they want to hype it. And thanks to the collaboration between Kanye and The Gap again managed to refresh the interest that younger clients, future customers, did not have for The Gap. The Gap was not considered this youthful brand. Now they've rejuvenated themselves, okay, thanks to Kanye West's collaboration. It's like you pay Kanye West to collaborate with you, and it's like getting an injection of life into your body, because it's like the elixir of forever youth. It seems like whatever this man touches in terms of marketing and fashion, it sells out. The strategies always work bomb, and it always helps the brand rejuvenate itself, meaning gaining younger audiences. So when it comes to this Gap particular current collaboration with Kanye, it's not the first time. They've already collaborated together, but let's get to it one step at a time. So the launch was kind of secretive. They did not promote this huge launch of that's another thing, reverse psychology. Tell them it's not important, and then it's going to be important. Keep it low key. That's also reverse psychology. That's also very clever. So they were going to launch these hoodies, the Yeezy hoodies for Gap. They kept it very low key, but still, because they knew that within the hypebeast community, everybody was going to talk about it. It's going to spread like wildfire. And in fact, the hoodie sold out. So it was available for pre-order. Okay, the hoodie was available for pre-order in 6 colors with a 2 to 8 week shipping turnaround time. And everything sold out. And this is how they look like. Okay, it's a little cropped, but you catch my gist. It's a simple freaking hoodie. Okay, it's a Yeezy hoodie, almost the same as the Adidas Yeezy collection that came out in 2015. Minus it doesn't have the little straps hanging down there, but it has that type of oversized under armpit. There's a bit of, it's a designed hoodie. Okay, it's not just your standard cut, boring, cheap made hoodie. It has a slightly different shape. It's a very Kanye West type of thing, but it's sold out immediately. It's so simple. I love the fact that it doesn't have a logo. A lot of Yeezy pieces just don't when it comes to clothing. The shoes do, but the clothing doesn't. So everything sold out, and Gap had the plan, okay, to bring in Kanye, to appeal to a younger audience. And it's working. The younger consumer is hooked. So listen to this. Here are the numbers. Here are the numbers. Since Wednesday morning, okay, now as we're filming, it's Saturday. So just 3 days ago, 3 to 4 days ago, the company's shares rose 6% since this Oompa Loompa collection came out. Okay? And the total value of the Gap and Kanye deal is estimated to be around $970 million. Oh, thank you, Aisha, for buying a Super Dacob Fashion Bunker skeleton mug. Thank you so much. You guys should check out the blanket. The blanket is bomb. It's humongous. Now, the total value of the Gap and Kanye deal is estimated to be around $970 million. And Kanye's deal with the Gap is for a 10-year contract. And you best believe from year to year, this revenue is going to go up and up. And it's not like this is his only deal. He has his music, he has his touring, he has his other companies, he has his other brands, he has his deal with Adidas. And they keep the hoodies artificially low in production to hype it even more because they know that they got a 10-year contract. They got to think ahead. They can't just give it all immediately. They got to, you know, with a drop counter, dose every launch, everything very carefully and plan it out, spread it out as thin as possible to build up the hype. And then at a certain point, they can switch and then release more and more of it. People won't realize. People are still going to be reprogrammed or are still going to be programmed to think that everything is limited, but they're going to limit stuff less and less the more time goes by because you're going to still think that the stuff is limited. So you're still going to be ready to buy whatever they churn out. But this is a strategy. It's a 10-year strategy. You see, this is what I'm talking about. It's colonialism. In this case, not even a colonialism towards other cultures. It's a colonialism of your interiors. It affects you as a consumer. It manipulates you. It conquers you as a territory because you then willingly give money to them. So it is colonialism. Pure and simple. In a very brand consumer marketing form, but it is. Susie Q says, I just don't get it at all. I don't get it. It's ugly, says Bin Black. I mean, as a silhouette, says Jack. Jack says, this design of hoodie has existed thousands of times at this point. It's not new or revolutionary. It's the kind of hoodie British teens were wearing in the early 2000s. Yeah. So now, the latest garment is the hoodie, which retailed for $90, sold out hours after the sweat launched on Thursday, right? And now, so the hoodie sold for $90. You know, it could have cost $50, but whatever. It's $90. It's Kanye. It's still okay for a hoodie. Because if the hoodie were YSL, you best believe it would be $900. So $90. Okay, fine. $90 plus tax, $100. Okay. Now, after hours after it sold out on Thursday, just two days ago, it resurfaced on resellers' websites like eBay, Depop for nearly $900 a hoodie. And that's the hype that we get every time when something hype beast wise launches. Every Yeezy that launches, whether it be a sneaker or whatever, there's always this type of hype. Another clever thing they do is it's one product only. They don't give you a plethora of, they don't give you 50 objects. It's one. They give you 6 colors, but it's a one piece. Very simple, easy to communicate to the consumer what it is. Very easy to recognize because you don't have to learn about the whole collection. It's one piece. You got to know it's 6 colors. Probably they played it on the colors. Some colors were more rare than others to make it even more complicated. And then the colors, it's so simple. It's one product. And of course, then it's going to get a much higher resale value on the aftermarket because it's just one product. If it were 10 products, it would be a bit more difficult to resell. So they're playing it cleverly even in that instance. Now, the Gap expects to, because Kanye's popularity is so strong, the Gap expects to bring in earnings of $1 billion over the next 8 years. Because they colonialize the consumer. Because it's the consumer who's going to give them that money. Who else? Who else? And they're going to keep on producing limited editions. And with production and limited editions, the resale market continues to boom with product collaborations. Often highly inflated prices for extremely rare items because they are artificially kept rare. So Kanye, he worked with Adidas, Nike with former Yeezy collaborations before he started working with Adidas. Some of those sneakers can go for over thousands of dollars. So it also states that the Nike Air Yeezy 2 has the second highest resale value on the Real Real. Remember the Real Real? They were telling us that Gucci is now the best sold secondhand best sold luxury brand. The Real Real also told us that Hermes is no longer in the top 5 resellers luxury brands. Now, the Real Real keeps coming in. All of these articles from different sources, from different magazines, they quote more and more the Real Real. I wonder if there's a pattern here, if the Real Real isn't kind of paying to promote themselves on all of these journals and magazines and websites. Why? Because why are we taking the Real Real as a source of real information in terms of what sells the most? Because we've been speculating together just a week ago. Remember, you guys, when we were chatting about Gucci being now the top tier, most searched and requested luxury brand on secondhand websites. Remember, we were speculating whether or not this is because Gucci is paying the Real Real to be so featured on the Real Real. It's promoting itself on the Real Real to always be kind of pushed up on the search. Interesting, but fact is, here again, they are taking the Real Real as a source of like ultimate truth. It's like the Real Real states that nearly 2,800% states that the Yeezy 2 Air, the Nike Air Yeezy 2 has the second highest resale value at nearly 2,800% higher than the original tag. This is also according to Quartz Media. Quartz Media that is in contact with the Real Real. The Gap is San Francisco based. It's an American company. Now, the Gap has had issues, again, reporting allegedly, has had issues to kind of keep up with the digital era times, doing an e-commerce, selling online. They've been kind of schlepping themselves a little bit back. They're not really up to date, which I can kind of agree, because honestly, who kind of looks at Gap website on a daily basis? Which one of us does that, you guys? Let me know in the chats here, also in the comment section down below. And so they're behind in the digital age, right? As opposed to other shops and brands and online realities that have garnered a bigger following when it comes to younger consumers, which is very important to have the younger shoppers and consumers because they bring in hoops of money. So the Kanye West tie-up brings a younger focus to Gap. And that's basically what Gap wants to be more present in the streetwear community as well. So is this a form of colonialism? Or is this a form of the Gap jumping in on the game, investing billions to be able to work with Kanye because, you know, they're like, well, we got to do this, you guys, because if we don't do this, we're going to fail as a company. We haven't been selling as much. Jack says, my mom has a Gap near her house. We used to go there a lot when I was young because they did good quality basics back then. Rara says, oh, to be honest, I'd pay more for a comfortable warm hoodie before a belt or slug. Small leather good, I think you meant, no? Super Dacob merch. This glass is not limited. You can get it anytime. Yeah, SLG, Rara. Yeah, I got it. Is this a form of colonialism? Then so is influencer culture. Jack, influencer culture is not a direct form of colonialism because the influencers themselves are a pawn within the bigger picture of consumer colonialism by the brands. So the brands employ the influencers to colonialize. The influencers themselves don't colonialize because they themselves, sure, are also a brand, but the influencers have an ego on top of it. The influencers want to be as a persona also accepted and loved. The brand doesn't care about the persona. The brand is a brand that needs to make revenue. The influencers first and foremost themselves with their ego, and then everything else that follows. And they are used and paid, used as a pawn and paid to be a pawn in the grand scheme of things by the brands to work for them. Drip down colonialism, Jack. That's what it is. That's what it is. That's what it is. So it's all about the money, says Susie Q. Bottom line, it's all about the money. But of course, the kids are led to believe that it's not about that. It's cool. It's a super cool thing. But then these kids, these teenagers are already in their young, tender age, are forced to play that capitalistic game of demand and supply. The good old game. So the hoodies are kept artificially limited. So the kids know. They learn at a very tender age already. Let me buy it for $90 and resell it for $900. Make a profit. And then they start playing these games when they're very little. And you're basically educating the kids to grow up thinking that way, of tricking you into something. And it's just not. Now you might say, well, it's a totally healthy thing. Why not? Buy it for well, it's not a totally normal thing. It's already in its inception. It's a manipulation in its inception because that hoodie did not need to be limited. The materials used to make that hoodie are not limited. The hoodie is kept artificially limited in order to create the frenzy around it, the hype around it, so that the next time they launch a next product, you're going to be even more nervous because you're going to remember that the last time they launched a product, you didn't get one because it was so limited, you didn't get it on time. So you're going to get more and more crazy with every new launch. It's a very strategically calculated type of manipulation. And ultimately the kids that then do get their hoodie, they are going to resell it because, so you see, so the object of desire is not even the hoodie, because once you buy the hoodie, you don't even wear the hoodie. You buy it in order to resell it. The hoodie turns into a form of money itself. The hoodie has a value that is rooted within manipulation of artificiality, meaning, yes, the value in store is Gap knows that these hoodies are going to resell at a much higher price. So you could say, well, then why didn't the Gap charge $900 for a hoodie to begin with? If the Gap knows that kids are going to resell the hoodie for $900, a hoodie that was $90. Why doesn't the Gap just charge more? No, the whole point of this is the real money that Gap is making is not by selling the $90 hoodie. The money Gap is making is long-term as an investment to create hype around its name and brand. So they are aware that these hoodies are underpriced, because they're kept artificially also low in production, but that the hype is going to be on the secondhand market. And that's where the promotion of the Gap really happens. That's where it happens. It's where in the communities, secondhand communities that kind of keep hyping the Gap. Now, little does Gap know, well, they should know, that Kanye always wins because he's the popular one, not the Gap. The second he's gone from the Gap will go back to not being very hip. What I think the Gap is hoping to achieve is by doing, isn't it a little, why do you think they make a 9 or 10 year contract with somebody so famous? Why? Think about this. They do this is my personal interpretation of the reasoning behind the 10-year contract or 8-year contract. It's because that's the amount of time it takes a young influenced consumer who is, let's say, 14 years old when they fall in love with Kanye West and they want to buy everything that's cool and hip, that's Yeezy related. They're going to have to keep coming back to the Gap to try to hunt down the limited edition pieces from Kanye in the 10-year period, okay? And that's the amount of time it takes them to grow up. And the Gap is counting on having these kids go back every time a new Yeezy thing launches, so that by the time they're grown up in the 10-year span, let's say they begin with 14 to manipulate these young consumers, Yeezy stops the collaboration when they turn 24. That's when they're grown up. They've in their mind been already manipulated enough into thinking. For 10 years, the Gap has been telling them, hey, we got the cool stuff. We got the cool stuff. We got the cool stuff. When these kids are no longer kids, they are now 24 years old, grown-ups. Gap is counting on these kids that are now grown-ups to keep coming back to the Gap even after that, because they're going to have a good memory. They're going to have a memory of a cool place for the 10 years of their youth, of their teenager years. So the Gap is counting on this investment so that the generation of kids of today are going to remain loyal customers to the Gap once the 10 years have passed. That's the bottom line. You guys, are we clear on this? This is brand marketing 101. This is how you build a long-term strategy. This is how you educate the consumer. It's manipulation at its finest. At its finest. Now, I'm not saying the Gap per se is a bad brand or not. No, I'm not saying that at all. They're just struggling. They want to survive as a brand. They also want to exist in another 10 years. So this is their investment for their future. Nothing wrong with that. But this is kind of the tactics that are behind certain decisions, you know, and a lot of the young consumers and even older consumers don't think about this. Oh, wait, why are they doing the limited edition 10 pieces only? Oh, I want one because it's limited. FOMO. But you got to think those 10 steps ahead and understand, why is the brand actually doing this? Alina says, I almost got sucked by it. Rara says, didn't work on me. One day I was all Gap, fell off, didn't they? You're absolutely correct, says Leslie. Champion says, Gwen says, Champion hoodies. I love Champion. That's a good brand. Gwen says, like the Champion thing. These new kids think Champion is lit. I mean, Champion was always cool, but it has its moments when it's more cool or less cool. Yeah, Alina says that is so messed up. Bim Black says, me shocked at fact that Kanye might have 14-year-old fans. Of course he does. Of course he does. Gwen says, they got them young so that they spend their money there for their lifetime. Yeah, it's in the interest of every brand to get you as young as possible, make you build up positive memories, good vibes with that brand so that you keep coming back so that they have you hooked for life. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section down below. And thank you so much for this wonderful chattarooga that was going on the sidebar. Thumb up this video, subscribe to my channel, and until next time, never forget to never give up on love. Love you all. See you soon. Take care. Bye. Mwah.